when there's those things that just happen and they're so awful that you just need to get your thoughts out. Well, that's what's kind of what this is. You see, I didn't watch SummerSlam. I'm kind of done with WWE. I've been done with it for ages now at this point, especially the John Cena heel turn. That whole thing turned me off. But this is not a time for tribalism. This is a different time. Brock Lesnar has returned to WWE amidst him being named in a sex trafficking lawsuit 44 times. That's not a low number. That's not like a throwaway mention. That's 44 times in one lawsuit this man has been named. And I'm so pissed off and angry, and I chose to sleep on it. I chose to sleep on it, um thinking I'm gonna have some like a more clearer thought process the morning after. But no, I don't. I am just mad. I am just mad. um I'm gonna start right off the bat. If you choose this time to have your whole tribalism bullshit about AEW or like any other wrestling company, you are just about as bad. You're not as bad as the people defending this, no shot. But that's completely ignoring the fact that all of these other companies, after speaking out, still relatively remained the same, and we didn't really shake up. I mean, it shook up indie wrestling, it shook up, people like Joey Ryan and Jimmy Havoc not having any time, but like, we still have people in high ranking positions all over the wrestling industry. And this one is different, though. This one is different because this is someone in an active lawsuit who, about 4 weeks ago, someone on WWE's legal team gave Paul Levesque like the whole go ahead, and now he's here. Now he's here. He's here, and I have thoughts. I already started with it. If you use this time to get your whole tribalism bullshit in, screw you. Like, just screw you. You are awful, and you are exactly what's wrong with wrestling discourse today and wrestling in general today, is that we have fans who are willing to throw away any sense of morality for a storyline or a good moment or anything. And that's just awful. What are we doing here? Plus, second, if you are quitting wrestling over this, I won't blame you. I would not blame you. I'm not gonna be one of those people who's like, oh, like check out these other wrestling companies if you don't. That's completely fine. But if you are saying like, I just don't want to, I don't have the morality to go through with this, I'm not gonna be the one to point you to those other companies. Go ahead and go check out stuff like what Joseph Monticello is doing or stuff like that. I'm not going to be the person to be like, oh, here's this other wrestling company I think you should check out if you don't like this WWE thing and you're kind of done with this wrestling. I get it. But I'd also be the person to be like, there is so much out there. And if you think WWE is wrestling, there's a whole world for you that you've not explored yet. And I would happily help you through it. But again, totally get that if you feel like your morality is compromised by doing this. But like the thing is, man, wrestling's been the one constant in my life since I was 3. It's the only thing I've ever consistently liked ever since then. I've had friends leave, I've had changes in my life, I've had interests of mine ebb and flow, but wrestling's remained constant, and I am currently enjoying wrestling in a way like I haven't enjoyed in a while. And then this happens and it's completely throwing me. I'm obviously, again, I'll be upfront and say, yeah, I do watch AEW. I do watch AEW even though knowing that, Jay Lethal is still on the roster and Chris Jericho is still on the roster. I intentionally don't watch that stuff. I intentionally didn't watch when Ric Flair was advertised for All Elite Wrestling. I was just like, I don't want to do that. But like, that seems insignificant in this. to those who are defending this, being like, oh, they wouldn't want to press charges, they weren't going to do that. He's named 44 times in the lawsuit. What else do you need? With text, with proof, with all of this, and that's not enough for you? And then you're turning this all into like a morality contest and like a general pissing contest, if anything. And I just if you watch WWE after this, I am going to be thinking of you different. I am going to be thinking of you differently. That's just how it's going to be because you are actively choosing to support a man who is deciding to do his wrestling entrance in the White House, who's, you know, bringing back people like this into the company, and you know that he's going to do that if Vince is cleared as well. You know that if this Vince McMahon lawsuit is not like the worst possible situation, he's going to try everything to get him back. Heck, John Cena's gone on air and already talked about how, he's trying to defend him and stuff like that, which also, by the way, screw John Cena. Screw John Cena throughout all of this. The guy who was like trying to push all of this, he should have his reputation questioned. He should, especially after this and defending him. But then obviously there's the whole argument of them being like, oh, John Cena wanted it, so obviously he had to do. Olivex, the boss of the company, he can just say no. He can, if he had any semblance of a spine, he'd say no. He'd say no. This is a guy who's implied multiple times in a sex trafficking lawsuit. 44 times in this. Plus all of the other batshit insane stuff that he was confessing to in his own documentary that I haven't even, his own biography that I haven't even gone through yet. I've heard there's a lot worse stuff about him breaking into people's houses and stuff like that. Like, if that's not enough, then I don't know what is. You should be saying no if you're the boss of the company. And he isn't. And he isn't. So Bolovic is as much as fault. I don't give a shit about his whole trying to give the blame to someone else. And then on top of that, to cancel the press conferences, knowing that you're gonna get these insanely tough questions that you know that you can't answer. That's a spineless move as well. That's a very spineless move. What else is even there? What else is even there? On top of that, there's the optics. You're bringing back a 48-year-old man who's been implied multiple times in a sex trafficking lawsuit instead of building anything, choosing to do anything else. Maybe trying to give that rub of John Cena's retirement onto someone else other than Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and R-Truth. You know, I love Ron Killings. Don't get me wrong, I love him. But this is a man's final year, and you're choosing it to do this. Is wild to me. Um, this is not about that though. This is not about that. This is, I mean, as I'm saying, I'm a non-binary man. As one of them, like as someone like that, it's hard because this is an industry. I keep as the days go on, I keep getting more tempted by this industry. Keep wanting to go more into it, and then you see stuff like this, and you realize that stuff's just not gonna be safe. But like we like at this point, what is there to do, right? I don't even know anymore. Like this is just a completely unhinged rant for a reason. I'm probably gonna title this an unhinged rant about Brock Lesnar or something because this has thrown me in a tailspin. This has thrown me completely because this is an industry that has been through so much of just like us facing our consequences for how awfully we used to treat each other back in the days. And after what looks like we're making progress, and then we're not. Speaking out was great progress because it was finally people acknowledging stuff like that. And now it's gone. And now it's gone because Guess look at where all those people, those big names are right now. You know, Velveteen Dream is back. Tessa Blanchard and Alberto Del Rio are about to get massive deals because of all of that. I know Tessa Blanchard was not implied in speaking out, but around that time, obviously, the stuff that happened and the racism allegations all came out. But this is a dark day. This is a dark day. I don't even know what else is there to really say. Support women's wrestling. Go out, watch a Joshi promotion. So much good stuff is happening right now in Stardom. So much good stuff is happening in TJPW. Support Eve Ride Girls. Support anything else. Anything else. Like any indie promotion around you. I'm in Wisconsin, which is like the barren lands of indie wrestling. And I'm like, you support them. Support actual people who actually care about this business, so actually care about wrestling. Support that. Don't support this bullshit fascist supporting, like condoning absolute like disrespect to every single woman in the locker room, every person in the locker room for that matter. Just and you know what the whole thing was? It's like, and now we have people like doing all tribalism and everything of like, AEW versus WWE. I couldn't give less of a shit about that. Sure, I'm an AEW fan. Sure, my favorite wrestlers of all time are all in that company right now, which is why I keep watching it. You know, but this is not the time for that. You know what this is the time for? This is the time for calling out how Paul Levesque hasn't built a black single superstar in his entire tenure. How he has talented wrestlers who are practically doing nothing in this company because he wants to continue pushing people like Brock Lesnar in the main event scene. And this is also not even talking about the fact that he managed to hire Gable Steveson after he got out of a lawsuit on a technicality of everything. You know, we need to start questioning. We need to start questioning our wrestling. Again, we need to start questioning, but especially Paul Levesque right now, because he's choosing to bring back a person like this on an ongoing lawsuit. And that's just wild to me. You know, even throughout all of this, I keep getting mad that I keep thinking about what he could be doing in the company instead of the optics of this. It's like that's the bigger problem. The bigger problem is that the biggest wrestling company in the world has just basically said that they don't care what a person has done as long as it gets them numbers. So yeah, final thoughts I guess are, I don't know, go watch Stardom, go watch anything else, go watch women's wrestling, go support women's wrestling, go support anything that you feel is morally in line with you. However, if you support this and you think this is what you're morally inclined to, um, I'm just straight up not gonna think anything of you. I'm gonna think a lot less of you. In fact, if you think this is where your morality stands. Yeah, I think that's it.